we're going live on YouTube right now. So a double live stream happening right now. Hello, everybody in YouTube land. Welcome to the Naked and Famous Denim weekly live stream right here, streaming live from Yokohama, Japan. My name is Bezad.
I'm Marisa.
And we are from Naked and Famous Denim, as you could well imagine. Otherwise, we would be hijacking somebody else's YouTube channel and Instagram. Let's let the room populate here for a second. We are streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live here on Instagram. The Instagram live won't be the entire time. So at some point, you guys are going to have to switch over to YouTube and continue the rest of the live stream there. Oishi Graham writes, since when did you have a YouTube account? We've had a YouTube account for many, many years, but we've been streaming. Our weekly live streams have been on YouTube for over a year and a half now.
Probably.
So, you know, some people might remember that we used to exclusively stream on Instagram. I know we have a big audience out there, but the live streams have switched over to YouTube. So, and if you're not following us on YouTube, you should. Those out there on Instagram Lives, because we post a video every single week. As in addition to the live stream. In YouTube land, we've got a lot of familiar faces in the chat. Wallen, howdy from Portland, still rocking the rainbow chorus. Good man, good man. Will Stocks, hello from London, UK. Everybody, let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Greetings from the DMV. Happy birthday, Bezad. September 17th, 2022.
Tomorrow.
Technically, my birthday is actually the 18th, but I do appreciate the happy birthday. Thank you very much, everybody. Well, at least the more for now, but I'm sure a couple more birthday wishes are gonna come through. So thank you so much, everybody in advance for the happy birthdays. We've got Joshua Torres from Lakewood, California. We've got Enrique Orneas. Sorry, I can't see. From Portland. Welcome. From that sounds like a new face in the chat. Maybe I haven't noticed before, but welcome. Zano Child M. Hello from New York City. C Sanchez. Hola from Los Angeles. We've got folks in the chat. Kevin Lynn Photography from Houston, Texas. High Road Design is in the house. Welcome, John. Hello from Spain. Raphael. I can't read. Sorry, the chat's moving too fast. Everybody, welcome to the chat from wherever you are tuning in from the world. Sounds like everyone is from everywhere. Braystar in from Seattle and Rodrigo Larry Nega from Texas. Rights W5, happy birthday. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. You know, it's funny because I don't feel my age. And
I don't think anybody does. You know, after a certain age,
I think when you're 22, you feel 22 because you're grown.
Perhaps.
And you don't. Yeah, I think 22 is the optimal age for feeling your age. You definitely feel like you're an adult, and you're also still kind of reckless as a young person. Like I remember, you know, I was talking to Michael from the Iron Snail the other day. And I was just talking about my birthday, and I'm like, you know, now when I watch Friends, I think, oh, those young guys.
Yeah.
That's
when I feel really old.
Right, because like I look at all of their problems, and I remember being a kid watching it and being like, oh wow, that's what it's gonna be like.
Yeah.
They're so adult, and then you watch back as an adult, like as an older adult. I mean, I've watched that show through the ages as I was their age, and you start to like, you know, feel the same way and go through certain situations. I mean, it's not a dramatic show in any way, but anyways, now I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, those young kids.
Those guys are so much younger than us, but I feel like in a way, like they were still like a little older. You know, like, you know, we've never had kids. Like some of those guys have had kids over the years, and you know, there are certain like life things that hasn't happened to us yet. So that's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're forever older than us.
The one thing I relate with a lot is Rachel's progression through the fashion industry. You know, I didn't end up working at well, I did end up working at a brand. You know, I you know, anyways, I do It's very real. I have to say that that's kind of the way that works. The way she kind of progressed through.
Yeah, she kind
Yeah.
of stumbled upon
Yeah.
it,
And-
struggled,
yeah,
and
worked her way up.
yeah.
So anyways, there's my little Friends rant, and now I'm old. I'm older than the Friends cast. Okay, Stavro Gran writes, do a collab with a snowboard company. Okay. I don't know. You know what? I've never been on a snowboard. As a Canadian,
Really?
I've never been on a snowboard
Wow.
before. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't know much about snowboarding. I don't know much about sports in general. I'm not generally a sporty guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like pro wrestling,
Right.
and that's a sport.
That's a sport. Yeah.
And I was into 90s basketball. I think everybody was, so that's that. And MMA. No, I'm not a super big MMA fan. I don't follow it all as much as I used to, but I like the MMA. But that's really about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me neither. I'm just not.
I'm not down. It's not that I'm not down with the sports. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow up.
followed
Yeah.
professional sports so much, like World Cup when it's going on. or
Right. I
something.
guess like the Olympics when it's going on, like when something important is happening, then I'm.
Yeah, like I don't follow professional sports.
I couldn't name a single soccer player that is playing currently. And
It's
for
Christian.
Europeans and in North America, I think the average person
Right,
has no clue about soccer.
But like, is Cristiano?
That's a person that I recognize. I couldn't.
That's probably the only one. Messi is still.
Let me
is
put
he
it to you this
still?
way: if Ronaldo and
Mhm.
Messi, somebody would show me their pictures, I would have no idea who they were.
Really?
No clue. I know that these people exist.
No, when you see it, like see the pictures,
I wouldn't
you
know
wouldn't
who it
probably
was.
know.
I would have no clue. I've no North Americans in general. Maybe I'm speaking for myself too much. We have no clue about soccer, rugby, cricket.
Yeah, I have no knowledge about cricket.
Europe, other parts of, like basically the rest of the world has some idea.
Cricket's not so
Cricket,
much.
cricket. I think in the
just
UK and
in
South Asia, India, Pakistan,
Australia, maybe.
Australia. Yeah. Anyways, don't know much about sports. So there you go. All right, Cathedral Ring. Okay. Thought you were one of the mods. You thought I was one of the mods.
What's a mod?
Like a moderator. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Elaborate. Venomous Teddy, buying one of those Upstate stock beanies. Yes, those just restocked today are upcycled denim watch caps from our good friends at Upstate Stock. Those have been restocked at Tatianyoko and Naked Famous Denim NYC. Get them before it gets cold. Last year the darker blue one sold out. The lighter blue one we actually restocked a few times throughout the year, but those ones were very, very popular. And basically,
But they're good ones.
yeah, I think this is going to be the only batch for the season. So if we sell out, it'll be next year when we get some more. So grab those when you can. Venomous Teddy writes, and this is kind of off topic. Are those Omega swatches easy to get now? I was able to just walk into my local store and get one. I don't know.
I think it's like in certain parts of the world, maybe it's more available. Here, like you have to be lucky. I think people are still like timing it, waiting for it.
Yeah, I think there's people who just wait outside the stores all day.
Right, remember like a couple months ago?
Yeah, well, we were in Montreal, and outside the swatch store every morning, there seemed to be people waiting every day. Yeah.
But like even before that in Japan, like they were saying that like they get shipments every day. Like so every day something is coming in.
Anyhow, for those swatch, you're welcome for the advertising on our YouTube channel. Any plans for a Sumi Ink 2? Maybe a Sumi Slub. C. Sanchez writes.
Working on that.
Yeah, it's in development right now. We're working with one of our developers to develop that, one of our mills. So that is in the works. We know that a lot of people have been asking for that, and we like Sumi Ink. We did it once before. We want to do it again.
Yeah.
Speaking of, the audience, I don't. Let me put it to you this way. I think with the Sumi Ink, it would have come whether or not there was a lot of, requests for it or not. This is just one of these things that we happen to really like, and we just kind of think it's, sometimes we go back to the well and, might do it in a different way. This one is definitely an audience request, and you guys have to, because if this isn't successful, I'm gonna be like, I was right.
About what?
MIJ,
Oh.
Type 2 style jacket. So we're right now developing Type 2 for all you folks who've been asking for Type 2s. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it.
We're finally gonna give in.
Yeah, I'm gonna give in to all your requests, and we're gonna develop it for the MIJ line. I figure it's gonna appeal more to the MIJ audience, right? So it's gonna be a made in Japan Type 2. It's gonna be beautiful. It's coming. But if it doesn't succeed, it's not gonna come anymore. So it has to be something that, you guys show your demand for it when it comes out. So I'm still like, I think they'll do okay, but sometimes I'm not sure. Sometimes
but also,
I'm not sure.
You have to figure MIJ will be a little bit higher priced than our regular Naked and Famous made in Canada. So we'll see how it goes. I think that it's not necessarily an indication of how generally it will go, but I think it's a good start because you don't have to you don't have to give in too much,
right?
Just baby steps.
I'm not gonna say we're gonna do it one, and if it doesn't sell out, or we're gonna not do it again, but
we'll see how it turns out.
We have to see how it turns out.
Yeah.
I just I want to be proven wrong about this whole situation with my opinion on the Type 2, right? I feel like it is so much more of a niche. I talked about denim jackets in general, kind of they just don't sell at the same the ratio of jeans to denim jacket sales it's wide, right?
Yeah. I mean, denim jacket is not an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It's more expensive. It's
So to then make a niche denim jacket fit, it's kind of in our world maybe it might seem it's pretty classic, but how often do you see a Type 2 on body in real life? At the Type 3, you see that's pretty normal, right? It's pretty everyday.
That's
right?
the denim jacket people picture when you
think denim jacket, that's the one. That's exactly what goes in your mind.
I do see Type 2 more and more every day. I feel not every day, but over time, I see more. So hopefully, people are getting used to the idea, and people don't have anything against it.
Right. Runyan, I think that's how I say it. If I say your name wrong, I apologize. Love your commitment to your women's collection.
We are committed.
Yeah, we are committed. We do a full women's line. We offer quite a lot of releases in our women's offerings every season. Yeah.
And we appreciate the continuous support. We know that there's only very small niche market, niche within the niche of raw denim women, but I think it's a necessary thing for us to continue doing, even though it's never going to perform as well as men's, but that's okay.
That's okay, right? We know that there are, customers for that out there. We're trying to grow that following as best we can. We don't have huge marketing budgets or, fancy models and ad campaigns and things like that. So, obviously this is a word of mouth kind of thing. So I tend to find that a lot of our audience is, a lot of them are brought in through, maybe a guy, kind of introducing them to the idea of raw denim. I remember when I worked in a men's denim shop, and we started getting, this is the LA denim kind of rush, right? And brands like 7 Jeans and Citizen Jeans, and these were women's brands, right? They weren't quote unquote, they were more popular with the women's, and they were just launching these men's lines. And I remember getting them in the store and being like, guys aren't gonna buy these, right? Because the embroidery on the butts, and it was so like you would get all the magazines and it was all like the LA like all the Hollywood celebrities wearing like these jeans, and I'm like, guys aren't gonna wear these. I'm like, it seems weird. Like it's like these butt squiggles are so associated with ladies' jeans, and then what started basically the way it all started happening was the wives or the girlfriends of the guys were coming in, bringing the guys in, and so
Yeah.
all of these guys who I guess they let they weren't really dressing themselves. Their wives or their girlfriends or whomever were making these like fashion choices for them, and then they would get in the jeans and like, oh yeah, these are nice, and then progressively it became like the guys started to come in on their own. But it was at the very beginning, it was almost exclusively like because the ladies wore them, so like, oh, they make them for men now. Like you got to get a pair, and now we can have matching
Well,
buttons.
it's a very
Yeah.
different situation.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work the same way because
Yeah.
I don't know any woman who let their
Oh, right.
husband pick their clothes.
It's true, but if you're a lady in the chat and like, let me know how did
How did
you
you get
get into
it?
raw
Yeah.
denim? What was your indoctrination? I mean, I think some of it is like as guys, like we're on Instagram, and what are you doing on Instagram? Looking at butts, and it's like, what? No, guys butts and jeans. Like we're just looking at jeans all day, and it's sometimes that obsession just is infectious, and we got to get you a pair. So I don't know. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. It's speaking of like I don't know, speaking of guys' butts, whenever we do like events, it's funny because there's so many like in Thailand, for example, like we would do these big denim events at the denim carnival, and we're signing a lot of jeans, but it's a lot of like sometimes people bring their jeans, and sometimes people just kind of put their butt in your face, and they're like,
Sign my
can you
leather
sign my
patch?"
leather patch? And like, so me and Brandon have just signed so many like dudes' butts, and I'm like, rock stars get to sign something else. Denim dudes sign dudes' butts. It's just the way it is.
Well, maybe someday you can sign women's butts.
Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I've always been interested in masculine fashion, and raw denim just was an extension of that. Keep it up. That's our Ruyen writes. All right, well that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ladies who are interested in men's fashion and more masculine styles. That's for sure. Yeah, I guess like I mean, we certainly do that well. So yeah, I guess that's one way to get into it. Melody Murray writes, I got into raw denim because of the quality of denim and the variety of sizing, especially the high waist. There you go. Yeah, quality. Yeah, quality denim is yeah. I just find that in ladies' fashion, like guys, again, I'm being very generic or general here. Like I always talk about like why just the way certain things are designed. Like men like stuff that has stuff on it. Like the amplifier has buttons and knobs all over it because guys like buttons and knobs.
I think
like,
guys would like to back up their choices with reasons.
Right.
Like,
oh, I can control it this way, or like, oh, these denim, like,
yeah, or like, why did you spend $300 on a pair of jeans? Oh, it's because these are so special and blah blah blah. Like I think they like more in terms of like stories, and I do too. I think that that is more common among men with across the board, but especially clothing, because clothing is something that women don't like. Women might choose like electronics, using that kind of logic, but clothing, I think in general, like a lot of people perceive it as something that makes you look good or feel good. There's so much logical.
Yeah, the fashion
choices.
is often outweighed over the quality of product. Right. I think that's a very general term. Obviously, if you're watching us here, you're definitely in a different mindset, but you might understand that if you observe your friends or people around you, the way they make their shopping purchases.
Right. And in general, like fashion is not moving. It's moving into really wide range these days. The trends that are strong is not as strong as it used to be. But at the same time, like we do find like women's fit needs way more like maintenance, like changing a lot more than men's, because like just the feedbacks on, like men's jeans, like we barely changed for, a few years
Yeah.
at this point.
Right.
But
We've got a lot of answers in this question. So
Nice.
BD writes, my wife tried the mystery box offer a couple of years ago after I've been into Naked and Famous for a while. She has tried a lot of the women's line. Great job, Reset. I mean, that's a great
Nice.
way to get into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes a mystery, the mystery items, we used to do those mystery crates, those mystery packages. That was definitely a great way for a lot of people to experience jeans that they may not have otherwise purchased on their own. Sometimes we make some, out there things, right?
Mhm.
And, it's
Especially for non-jeans items, like it's
Sure.
just, when we did the crates, it's usually like, things with shirts, and like maybe you knew about our jeans, but not
right,
shirts.
not our shirts. So
and-
it was a
yeah.
great tester. But even for like things that, maybe that jean was a little too wild for you, like maybe there was a Frankenstein denim or something like that in there, and like on its own you were like, oh, maybe that's a little wild. Then you get in your hands. Right? Because when you're in the shop or when you see things in person, that's one thing. But then when it's online, it's a different thing. And, you only have a certain amount of budget for the stuff that you plan on wearing every day. But it's so amazing how sometimes something can just appear in your life. And then you're like, I can't believe I didn't have this before. Like your appreciation for things can really turn up when it's presented to you in a different way. Or like somebody gives you like a very special gift. Like, I like gifts that are like, you wouldn't buy it for yourself, right? Somebody was like, this is really, like, it's made some kind of improvement, or I really enjoy this item. I think you might like it yourself. And then you're like, yes, I like this thing. Fifth Chambers 36 writes, I got my wife the rainbow Selvedge. The colors really interested her, and the fade when it comes to that. Well, that's awesome, right? Yeah.
Fade experience, I think a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not in this community, but in general, a lot of people don't even think about jeans fading and changing colors. That's a cool.
Yeah,
Cool
that
hook.
very, very good hook. Pretty Hal writes, when we were dating, me and my wife once had a dream of wearing the same other brand of jeans, and now that'll never happen again. We both have plenty of Naked and Famous.
Nice.
Fantastic. Me and my wife also. For a long time, and we still do it, but for a long time, we wore a lot of matching outfits. Like, literally the same stuff.
Yeah, like matching shirts.
yeah.
Like, same prints.
Yeah, same everything.
Yeah.
I guess we don't leave the house as much as we did before, but like there was a good run of us wearing the exact same thing. I remember one time we were in the Montreal Metro, and we were wearing a very matching outfit, and we had these fur Yucatan shoes on, so they had the little fur trim on them, and this lady was freaking out. She was looking at us, and she's like at first it felt like she was making fun of us or something. I don't know. She was just kind of aggressive about it. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, she was offended by it. And then she yelled out, what do you guys have, matching underwear too? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, snap. And she like, I don't think we had matching underwear that day. But, or ever. Just so you guys know about our underwear selections.
No, yeah, but like there are times where like you don't see a couple wearing matching. I feel like now it's a little bit more common, like to wear something like.
Is it?
Isn't it?
I don't know. You guys tell me. Do you guys ever match with your partners out there? Yeah, I'm definitely not opposed to it.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
just
it.
It's like aesthetically pleasing when
Yeah.
you look at us.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be exactly, but
no,
like
it's just got a link.
Yeah,
it just like feels like we belong together.
Yeah, that's right. When
Yeah.
people see you and they're like, oh, they're definitely together.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Vitaly, any plans to bring back blazers? I have one brown heavy twill and it's awesome. Yeah, I like that blazer a lot. I have that same one.
Like velvet.
The velvet
kinda
one.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I would like to do more casual blazers because obviously I think they'll go well with like our shirts. Yeah, it's just a matter of I don't know if it's a matter of time. Like,
it's also people don't necessarily.
yeah, I think
We can't sell a lot of
yeah,
them.
we don't move a lot of those. Like, we could probably have a couple at Tate and Yoko, but like we also have to kind of, our collections are very catered to you know, our wholesale audience, you know, our retail partners out there who carry our line. You know, sometimes, you know, when you work with partners like that, whenever they're buying your collection, they're kind of buying, you know, what kind of things work well in their store, right? So like for us, it's jeans, it's flannel shirts, you know, it's certain parts of our collection are more available at retail than others, right? And like when it came to blazers or like certain other kind of fashion items, maybe sometimes they feel like they have that covered somewhere else, right? And so like they're like, oh well, I have that in my store, right? So my customer can walk in and get that look. Just I carry blazers from them, I carry, you know, shirts from you guys, I carry jeans from you, and you know, some other brands and this and that, and like we're good, right? And so there's a balancing act there. Like if we expand out, like, you know, the Naked and Famous Tate and Yoko stores, you know, the more of those that we have, the more like full Naked and Famous Denim experiences you can have, and then we could really branch out in the kind of types of products that we have. And so, I mean, it's just like I sometimes I've said on these live streams, like I want to be the Gap one day. Like I don't want to be the Gap, but I want to be like the denim destination. I want like a store in every city, you know, American Apparel without shutting down. I want to be successful, but you know, having many stores like that, you know, coming in for the full denim experience, full Naked and Famous Denim experience, we could then start really making more things, right? Yeah. Because then you're not just reliant on, you know, the retail partners you have out there to, you know, prop up the, you know, that end of that, you know, other part of the business. We're very, very much a jeans brand. You know, we sell a lot of jeans. We sell a lot of flannel shirts. We sell the things that go with jeans, but like, you know, it's a balancing act, right? Like, you know, what we can support at our 2 retail stores isn't quite the same as, you know, we have a lot of retail partners, right? So if they were all on board, then certainly we can add more and more items. But, you know, I think you kind of get pigeonholed in a way as a brand. You know, I think a good example of that was like when we made sneakers, right? A long time ago, we made some made in Japan sneakers, and it was kind of based on like, you know, we were, you know, really starting to gain a lot of momentum. We started doing, you know, different things here and there, and we thought, oh, you know, denim's made in Japan sneakers, denim sneakers, this could be kind of cool. We asked so many of our retailers, like, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? And everyone said, oh, it's a great idea. Oh yeah, we love it. And I think this was also the time of like Tom shoes, and there was a lot of action in the footwear world, right? Yeah. And so we knew a lot of our retailers who weren't necessarily shoe retailers were selling a lot of shoes. And so we thought, okay, maybe it's a good time. And then when it eventually came time to releasing them, we didn't have as much retail support in that world. So, I mean, in order to make those shoes, there were just a lot, like really high minimums, and we made a lot of them. We made a lot. And there's like 2 or 3 pairs left on Tate and Yoko.
Yeah, and that was like,
it's been a while,
years ago.
But
it's also like kind of like it was expensive for like sneakers that are not like, you know, like today it's different, but it's like sneakers that is not necessarily like the kind that you pay premium for, like in regular people's minds. Yeah. It was kind of expensive. It's made in Japan fully, so
the high price came with that. But if you are, I think they're on like mega sale on that. They're just,
you have to.
If
it's
you
also
are like
another thing with the shoes.
Thing.
Yeah, like there's so many sizes.
Yeah.
Like jeans too, but like shoes are especially because you can't wear shoes that are too big or too small.
They're unisex sized. Yeah. But if you check the size, it's a U.S. men's. So in stock right now, there's a size 5, a U.S. size 5 men's, which is a U.S. women's 6. So if you're a 6, which is a small size, there's a great deal on some indigo slub denim sneakers, and there's also a U.S. size 8,
which is a woman's 9.
Which is a woman's 9.
It's just like one of those sizes where, like, I mean, 5 is like a small size, but like 8 is like it's like bigger than average woman's feet,
Yeah.
but smaller than average men's feet.
These are
Like
these are the last ones.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you're in that realm, check them out. They're super cheap. So go and grab a pair. All right.
I'm always jealous of people with feet that whose the size isn't like the most common because
they get everything on sale.
Yes.
Yeah. It's when I was a size small, in my early 20s, I was wearing like 130 pounds wet. I was so skinny. Like I don't think I'm not skinny. Like I'm not slim, but I was a rail. And sale season was like Christmas for me. Everything was my size. Everything was available.
Although for us, like, for our jeans, like sizes that are not as popular tend to go quickly too.
Yeah.
We don't make
a lot. Yeah, we don't make a lot. Although, there's a couple of like inventory oopsies in our. I think if you watched, I'm gonna mention Michael Iron Snail one more. When he came to Montreal, he asked one question and made it in a video. It's like, what are some mistakes that have happened? And then I explained how one time, and it's still on the website. I think it's the Summer Sky Weird Guy size 40.
Size 40.
We have like
so many,
like 50 of those in stock. Like there's a zillion of them in stock. And basically what happened was when somebody did the the cutting slip, which is the breakdown of the size breakdown that we do for production. Somebody, I think, either read an extra 0 or wrote an extra 0. Instead of making like 5 or whatever, they made 50. And like nobody in the production was like, nobody thought like, oh, we never make 50 of these, right?
50 was size 40,
right? And then they made them. So now we have them. And like generally, like when we
probably made more because
we sold through. But like anything above a 38 or under like a 29, we maybe make like 10 or less. Like, we just don't make that many because they're, the audience for that it's there, but like I think we make enough for the audience that we have. But yeah, I think somebody was just not at the wheel that day. They're like, that sounds right. Let's just do it.
Well, I feel like multiple people dropped them all that day.
Right. And like there are some styles that we have in our warehouse where like there's like 68 size 28s. And like
smaller size are we used to sell a lot.
Yeah, we
just
sell a lot.
Them so well.
Right. I think a lot of our audience has grown with us, and as they've grown with us, they're no longer 28s like I used to be.
We used to make a 27 for every single style too.
I used to wear, when I started, I was wearing 27 28s.
Yeah, that's just,
Now I'm an easy guy 32.
I wonder if it's the age thing or it's also just like, the world getting bigger. People tend to get bigger over time.
Yeah, I mean, as you get older,
but like just in general, maybe.
Maybe that's part of it. The average size of people is maybe that's also possible. I apologize for any loud noises that are going on. There's some construction happening outside our window here. Speaking of sizing like that, this was a question somebody asked me on Instagram the other day, and they were between sizes and they needed help picking out a size. And it's often hard for me to give sizing advice through Instagram or, even, through the emails, because sometimes you just don't give us a lot of information. You're like, hi, I'm in between sizes. I normally wear a size small, but the size medium measurements are just slightly bigger and the small is a little small. I guess that's actually a pretty good example. But anyways, if you're between sizes and you're a younger person, under 25, get the bigger size every time, because it won't be that long until you grow into that size.
I would give that advice to everyone.
Yeah.
People over however old also. It's, again, I'm going to repeat, overwhelming majority of return reasons are that they're too small. It's never too big.
Yeah. But like if you're like 21, I also find that like when you're 21 to 25, fashion is definitely way higher than function.
Yeah.
So like you're like, oh, it's skinny. I like the way that looks. I'm just gonna wear it. I don't care that it's tight or uncomfortable or whatever. I'm just gonna wear it. I look great. And if you're in that range, sure, you're gonna get 5 years of wear out of it. and you're gonna be fine. Like, there's no reason to buy something that's a little big because you think maybe 10 years down the line it's still gonna fit you then. Certainly buy for, like, you know, that's a weird advice. Buy for now, but also think about the future. Look, if it's a little bit, like, if it's gonna be tight versus it's gonna be comfortable, go with comfortable.
Yeah.
That's better advice.
And also, if you're like on a diet and like, you know, looking to lose some weight, once you lose weight, you don't mind having to buy stuff that's smaller that will fit you after. But the other way around is very difficult, like, emotionally. Like, you don't want to buy a bigger size because you couldn't fit in them. You just, or like, you feel like you know, failed you yourself.
We've got a lot of confessions of, like, size changes here. The Raven, I'm an easy guy 28, but I'm also in my early 20s. There you go. I know you won't be in your early 20s for long, I'll tell you that much. Its age was 29 when I started my denim journey. Now I'm a 31, right? I was at 27 when I started my raw denim journey. I think my bones, I don't know how it all works, but I think my bones have settled. Like, my hips, like...
Yeah, well, your insides are fatter too, so, like, you inside of your bones.
I've expanded. Yeah, for sure. Because, like, I look at some of the jeans I wore, and I'm like, that couldn't possibly get over my hip bones now. Just science. Yes. Trust the science.
Little trivia, men get, like, inside fat rather than, like, under the skin fat. Like, I mean, we all obviously have both, but, like, women tend to get fatter under the skin. Men tend to get fatter, like, inside, like, around your organs and stuff like that.
All right. Okay, guys on Instagram, I'm gonna tell you to head over to the YouTube channel right now. We're gonna continue the live stream there. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Head over to Naked Famous Denim YouTube channel. We're gonna continue the live stream there. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, I'm gonna cancel that one out. Okay, very good. Fantastic. So it's just us now, guys. I was just letting the Instagram community know that we are live here on YouTube. It seemed like a lot of people didn't realize that. Even though, we put out the stories and stuff, but maybe our communication isn't...
Well, it's been a while since you did that.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's true. Anyways, we'll keep reminding them. Venomous Teddy, I've been back and forth between 160 and 200 in the last 10 years. Currently sitting around 170.
160 and 200. That's a big range.
Yeah. I got up to... During the pandemic, I got up past 170. I got my max, I got to 174. I'm sitting at, like, 165 right now. I'm just trying to get to, like, 155 where I used to be. 150 would be great, but 155 I think I'd be pretty comfortable. But yeah, I was watching some early, like, we started doing all the videos, like the product release videos, and I was watching some early ones, and, like, my face is so big. And, like, I'm watching, I'm like, wow, that must have been me, like, pushing my maximum right there. But yeah, there's some of those videos, I have a really big head, and anyways, it's tough. It's tough getting old. Tough getting old. Pablo Chavez, I've been the same height and weight for the past 10 years, and I went from a 31 to a 33. Really? Same height and weight. I guess the weight is moving around, huh? Interesting.
But I mean, you also have maybe, like, it's, for you to be a little bit more comfortable, you would like a little more room. You're not necessarily getting bigger, you're just wanting more comfort.
Right. Maybe that's the case. All right, let us know. That's interesting. Andy Jin, any updates to MIJ 11 release date and price? I'm trying to save enough for a pair as I have the MIJ 8s and I absolutely love them. The release date...
Release date, no.
Still TBD. Hopefully around holiday.
Right.
That's really the aim right now. It's like a lot of people, when you ask me in the live stream for release date information, if I haven't told you yet, I don't have a release date for it yet. So I guess it's kind of hard to keep up with what I say because these streams are 2 hours long. But just keep that in mind. If you know I haven't, if you've heard me announce dates and I haven't announced it yet, it's because I don't know. So it's still on in production. The retail price is going to be around the same price as the MIJ 8, I think
Yeah.
in the 800,
880 or something
880
like
or
that.
high 700s or mid 800s, so somewhere around there. But yeah, we will keep you posted on that one.
Oh, 788.
788. So a little bit better priced than the MIJ 8s. I think those were 888. Right. So yeah. Okay. Uh, the Raven writes, that's exactly how I buy my stuff. A little big, a little bit of room so I can grow into it. Right. That's the mom style when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you'll grow into it. Yeah, I think I'm pretty settled in my physicalness these days. So but yeah, I do own a lot of stuff that just doesn't fit anymore. Like most of my closet doesn't fit at all. Because I don't throw anything away, and a lot of my acquisitions were when I was a lot thinner. So I have a lot of stuff. But I guess there's part of it is like the stuff I have is kind of, I keep it as like a personal archive also. There's a lot of just referenced materials that I have, and I don't like getting rid of anything because sometimes I'm like, I bought it for a reason, and then there might be a detail there that I like, and then I look back on it. I don't know. Maybe it's a waste of space, but I have a hard time getting rid of any clothes. That's not necessarily true. Sometimes there's certain things that, like, especially with shirts, because I get a lot of shirts to work. When I grow out of them, and maybe anyways, some of my there's like some hand me outs to friends and family and stuff like that. That definitely happens. Sure. But there's a lot of just, I guess, part of my collection items that started as like, this is my wardrobe, and now it's my collection. Right. And so certain things in my world have evolved that way.
Yeah, Naked Famous things, because especially shirts, like we tend to like do something similar down the line. It's not like we do.
Yeah, I mean,
once and never go back to that well again.
I have a few red flannel shirts, but I don't need 30 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get his.
This is one of my shirts. Yeah. So yeah,
I really like this one.
Yeah, this was a great one.
It's actually like a very old one, because like it has that like old label.
Yeah.
Vintage
Naked Famous Denim. Okay, Rice Checks writes, what's the origin story with Naked and Famous's brand name and patch iconography? Okay, that's a good question. It's a question that I get every now and then, and I think for a lot of people who've not heard this story before, it's always a good story. So basically, we talked about earlier in the stream, when I was working in a denim shop, LA brands, right? This was kind of the modern birth of premium denim. Like, you had designer jeans in the 80s, the Calvin Kleins, the Gloria Vanderbilts, the Sassoon denim, Tommy Hilfiger, like all these brands kind of came up, and it was like, okay, jeans aren't just Wrangler and Levi's and, utilitarian. Like, now we've got fashionable jeans, okay? So that came up, and then, there were always like the brands like the Diesels, the Miss 60s, the Italian denim brands. But in the early 2000s, the LA brands showed up hard, like the Sevens, the Citizens, the True Religions, the Antique Denim. And that was what took over the market. It just blew everything out by, I don't know, blew it out by storm. It came in by storm. I don't know what the analogy I'm using, but it dominated. And so we were living in this era where it was like glamour jeans, expensive jeans, celebrity jeans, and it wasn't necessarily quality jeans, right? And so there was just a lot of stuff out there, and it just seemed like it was a race to like, who can put the most tchotchkes on a jean, who could have the most celebrity endorsements on a jean, who's wearing it in this week's issue of People magazine, who's, on the cover wearing this and promoting that. And it was a very unusual market because the prices in my opinion, did not reflect the quality of the product that was being put out. So Brandon was figuring out what he wanted to kind of do with his life. And he looked to jeans, as his family has been in the jeans making business for over 70 years in Canada. His grandfather started to work for a brand. His father continued it. They were in the manufacturing business, making products, making jeans, making workwear, in addition to many other things, but making it all in Canada. So instead of, going the utilitarian route, Brandon wanted to do something special. So he looked to Japan. He looked to making, using the most premium materials he can, and as making in Canada with his connections, with his family's knowledge, making them for the best possible price available. And when Naked and Famous Denim hit the market, there were Japanese Selvedge denim jeans on the market. There were Selvedge jeans on the market. There were raw jeans on the market. But they all had that we can charge whatever we want mentality that came with the, that denim boom that was going on. And so the average price of a pair of Selvedge jeans was like $300. $300. And Brandon came out February 2008. Starting price was like $110 US for a pair of Selvedge jeans made in Canada. Japanese Selvedge denim made in Canada, $110 retail. And it blew people's minds. Now, there's a little bit of a backstory to how we ended up with those original prices, but the name Naked and Famous basically came as a making fun of the Hollywood kind of glamour industry that was behind all this, denim boom at the time, So while they were relying on sex and glamour and advertising to sell jeans, we were going to do basically exactly the opposite. No advertising, no celebrities, no, none of that traditional route for selling jeans. Focus on high quality product at the best possible price, delivering as much value as possible. But using a name that kind of poked fun, kind of fit in that kind of celebrity world. And that's kind of also the reason why we have the Tragic Blonde logo. It is a trope. It is kind of poking fun at the glamour and, sex that is used to, sell jeans. But obviously ours is a cartoon, not a real person. And so it also pulls from pop art, Roy Lichtenstein, Andy Warhol. So we're taking these common kind of ideas and putting like a mirror in front of your face and, kind of making fun of it at the same time. So the name Naked and Famous Denim, the logo, it's all part of like shining a mirror on, sex and glamour and the way that we use that to sell product. And so we're using it kind of in a satirical way, a pop art kind of way to, show off the types of products that we make. And I mean, you think of a name like Naked and Famous, and it sounds like, one of these kind of glamour companies, but we're really not selling glamour at all. We're not selling, modernity. We're selling tradition, right? So, anyways, that's the long and short of that story. I hope it makes sense. Gives you some insight on how the name came to be. But just going a little bit further into how the first prices came to be. And when the Naked, like, our prices are still good. Don't get me wrong. But when they first came out, they were crazy good. I remember before I worked at Naked and Famous Denim, I was a customer. And, first season, I remember the blogs, the forums, all these little denim forums talking about Naked and Famous and the pricing. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. Because I was working at a retail store where we carried $300 Selvedge jeans, and I got a discount, and I still couldn't buy them for as little as what Brandon was selling them for. So when Brandon first started the brand and he tried to make these connections in Japan, Brandon was in his bedroom at home calling up these Japanese mills long distance. Hi, can I get somebody to answer some questions for me? I want to buy some denim. I got a factory in Canada. Blah 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 blah.
These were back when like mills didn't, in Okayama didn't really use emails or didn't have websites.
Right. So, I mean, the funny thing, a lot of corporate there's a lot of companies still out there that just don't have an internet presence. But anyways, that's another thing. But Brandon was doing his very, very best to get in contact with these mills, and they pick up the phone, say something in Japanese, hang up. Like we don't speak English, we don't know. Brandon was very persistent, and eventually somebody answered in some English, and Brandon was able to communicate with them and was able to get some swatches and some prices, and built the first collection from there. Turns out that the person who gave him the prices gave him all the wrong prices, very wrong prices that were too low. And it just also so happens that the person who gave him the prices was the son of the owner of the mill. So it wasn't like, basically they just had to honor the prices. He's like, I gave you those, it's my mistake. Yeah. We're going to honor those prices. So when
whoever it was, they had to order the prices. Once you quote a price, like that's the price you agree with.
I guess so. I mean, I just wonder, like, if I don't know what jobs you work. If somebody quotes a price that's so wrong, would your company still honor it?
If you made a purchase order based off of that, then they have to,
right?
Don't they?
I guess so. I don't know. Anyways, so that's what happened. Honor the prices, and so we put out our first collections, and it was a very, very fresh take in the market. Nobody had seen product like this, the variety of fabrics like that at the price points. We earned a very, very fast, reputation. Mm-hmm. And so I remember somebody pointed out a blog post that somebody wrote and said that they were very scared in the raw denim industry after that, in like us entering the market. Mm-hmm. And I think we did a great job of shaking up the market because people started to see the value of products for what they were, right? And it became very difficult to sell that $300 pair of very basic Selvedge jeans. Like you had to sell, like nowadays I feel like those brands still exist, and I maybe they're much larger brands than us, and maybe they're selling lots of jeans. I don't know. But I just think that the customer is so much smarter now to know the difference between something that should be where things should be priced in general.
Right. I mean, yeah, the ballpark, yes. But I mean, at the same time, like Brandon definitely did have an advantage being, in the family that he was born into, like having like a, like a background in production, manufacturing, sewing, all of that definitely did help. He also didn't have to, rent an office building or warehouse or stuff like that. Like all of that came so that Naked and Famous could offer absolutely the lowest price for, making something similar to what other people were making back then. Like nowadays it's a different story because we do develop like our very own fabrics, blah, blah, blah. But like in the beginning, like that was definitely one of the very strong advantage. And, obviously like, those are things that most people don't have control over.
Right.
So, I mean, it's, it was all the perfect storm of everything back then in 2008, 9, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think after that, there was a lot of, I mean, the heritage wave came in. So a lot of, brands came together to, start telling these stories. And, we're still, like, people say, well, that was the good old days. I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to tell because, we certainly sell more jeans than we ever sold before now than we did then. And I think the brands that have remained are also in that same position, right? I mean, we're at the trade shows with a lot of the brands, like, now today, like, we were there with them. Like, we were all kind of starting up at the same time. A lot of brands are gone. But the ones that are around, I think that they're around for a reason, Venomous Teddy, to be honest, over 10 years ago, I saw your brand in Ottawa, and the name alone made me think you guys were a glamour brand. I didn't know much about good jeans either. Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of the appeal. Maybe it's even a little bit of a part of the mainstream appeal of Naked and Famous, is that, like, we were able to get into the department stores,
because of
I
that.
think the name also
Yeah.
helped us. I don't think that
Name
that
and
was Brandon's
the
intention.
logo,
Yeah.
but it definitely did help.
Yeah.
And you know, not that it's wrong to not fully understand the background, but like I think they still are people who buy like, you know, are more like a stretchy denim, like more basic denim that you can incorporate into like your anybody's outfit, like because of that.
Right. Like, yeah, I think maybe like nowadays, I don't know what the, you know, if you had a brand that was like, you know, generic Heritage Co., like in department stores' minds, like they think, oh, our customers aren't like. You have to understand that the mentality of a buyer sometimes is very like, some buyers are very good, but some buyers are very like, well, that doesn't sound right, you know. And oh, we don't sell heritage products, and like they immediately they'd be like, no, we sell fashion and glamour, and it's like it's not about the product. It's like they've automatically kind of assigned you in their mind like what you are and what department you're gonna be in, and so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of consumers like that, so buyers have to like.
But it also works in our opposite favor. I mean, there are like, you know, pure denims. They're pure. We're the purest of denim stores, and they're like, that name and logo is not. There's not enough, you know.
100%. It's a lot of that from independent stores for sure.
I remember back in the day when we were showing in Germany, and Germany was known for having some of these very, you know, strict and rigid kind of ideas for like what denim should be. And literally I would hear the craziest excuses. They're like, these buyers would come in and like, I like it, but you know, the name or okay. Or the stretch. I'm like, you make stretch jeans. I'm like, yeah, but you don't need to buy, we make a lot of jeans. I'm not, there's no gun here that I'm forcing you to buy these stretch jeans. You don't want the stretch, no problem. Here's a 21 ounce 100% cotton jean for you, you know. And they were just offended by that. One of the weirdest comments I ever got was, you guys wear sneakers. And like, you know, I was like, we wear sneakers. I'm like, so you're offended that I'm wearing sneakers and like I'm not a true denim head because I don't wear work boots every day. And I don't like, and I'm not dressed like you. You're the purist, and I don't know what you think I am, but I was like, wow, good luck with that store, because, and by the way, they're closed. They've long went out of business. But imagine the mentality of that, where it's like, you have a store that's so rigid. Do you know what kind of, you're only catering to this much of the people walking into that store. Like, the only people walking into that store are these people. Right? Like, I'm not saying you have to ignore them, but it's such a small mentality. It's like, you want, like, I want raw jeans to be worn by everybody. I don't care if you wear sneakers, sandals, high heels, work boots, whatever you wear it. If you're wearing jeans, you know, you're spreading the love of raw denim, makes me happy, right? I don't want it to be worn just one way. I want it to be worn 1,000 different ways. And so, yeah, that one always, I just remember it so hard. And like, you know, I do these outfit pictures on my Instagram, and like lately I've been wearing some sneakers, and like people really like those, and I'm like, yeah, man, there's a lot of like, there's an Instagram page called Souls and Selvedge, and it's like all sneakers and all raw denim, right? I'm like, that was the outfit of like, you know, early, like, you know, mid 2000s hype beast. It was like raw denim jeans and sneakers, and like, you know, that's kind of how I grew up in raw denim. Right, my first raw denim like wearing experience wasn't like I'm going down the full heritage route. I was like, I like the fading and I like sneakers. I'm gonna wear these together, right?
Mm-hmm. So. And I mean, you know, obviously, like different stores have different aesthetics.
Yeah.
But just like, you know, it's also funny because like they'll come to a booth and like talk to us and like. And then tell us like these reasons for like not carrying us. I was like, okay, well, like, I mean, I don't need you to explain.
I had a buyer recently who, after very, very many years, is carrying us, and I'm not gonna say the names because I don't want anyone. I don't want to name names here, but and when I was having the meeting with them, they were explaining to me that their partner, who was no longer involved, they're like, yeah, that guy was militant. He was like, he was so militant about like aesthetics and it was like detrimental to our business because we would only cater to one customer and nobody else would walk into the store because they knew that our store was like the scary, like, you know, if I don't have a long beard and work boots, like that, I can't. They're gonna judge me. I'm not gonna be able to shop there. And he's like, I want everyone to walk in and buy jeans. He's like, I can't survive on this niche market. And then, in addition, like, look, like the very very niche guy, like, you know, you have your aesthetic, like, you know, we wear our same jeans forever, right? Like, they need to sell jeans to, you know, if you only have a customer who buys, you know, if you only cater to the people who only buy like 1 or 2 pairs of jeans a year, right? Versus, okay, that's a fine, you know, that's an important part of the market, but you also need to get the people who just the other people, right?
Yeah,
like
the
that
regular
market
is
folks,
not necessarily
right?
growing,
Right.
Like, if you, it's also like the type of stores, like if it becomes very trendy that they don't want to do it anymore. So it's like it's just like a losing like premise.
And it's like, so you need everybody to walk in and shop, and it's like, I have these guys and I love these guys, but, you know, we also need to sell more jeans, and I can't sell more jeans to this individual little group of people because I know the way that they shop, right? So I want to expand our horizons and, you know, offer more products to more different groups of people. And so, like, he's like, you know, you guys bring in a good youth energy, you know, and things like that. So, like, you know, like, I'm ready. And he's like, I'm sorry that, you know, we didn't do it before. But anyways, he explained the whole thing. I'm like, no, I understand. I'm like, I know how it is. I've seen stores like this operate. And so it's Rice checks, right? Gatekeeping around hobbies sucks, and that's it, right? You know, I despise the gatekeeping that happens. Luckily, I don't think it's that prevalent anymore. It certainly happens here and there. You know, people have their opinions one way or another, but like, I'm always for everybody. I want everyone to wear raw jeans. You don't have to be, you know, Captain Heritage, right? But if you are, good. I like the way that looks. And sometimes I want to wear, you know, classic and preppy, but sometimes I want to wear t-shirts and sneakers too. Like, I'm not like one way about this. I have different moods. Sometimes I wear, you know, black leather jackets and black jeans, and sometimes it's, you know, brown leather jackets and work boots. You know, it's
just like the like, you know, I mean, the fun of fashion, of wearing clothes, because you're not like, this is not a permanent thing. You can change it every day.
I guess the only permanent part of my outfit is the jeans. I wear a lot.
But even still, like, when you want to wear tight jeans, the stretch jeans,
sure.
like for a year, rather than like, you know, being married to like heavyweights and, you know, slubby and all that.
C. Sanchez, the super heritage guys. Anytime I see the word super, like, my brain always goes super heavyweight, like just denim. Anyways, C. Sanchez, the super heritage guys always end up looking like they're wearing Halloween costumes. And then Brainstorm writes, coal miner cosplay. Look, sometimes it does feel a little bit costumey. Yeah, it definitely does, and like, it looks great in photos.
Yeah, right? And some people can, like, you know, like, really. Yeah. That's a good look on them.
But look, anytime you're very, you know, you're really into it, like, it can look that way. It depends on the circumstance, right? And where you're going, what you're doing. Sure. I have no problem with the look. Dress whatever way it makes you comfortable. But the idea that is, like, that look is raw denim, to me, that's where I will disagree. And I'll say that is a raw denim look or a denim look, but it is not the look. I don't think that is the goal. The goal is for you to wear raw jeans the way you want to wear raw jeans. And if you want to, you know, be perfectly heritage, do it. Do it well. You know, take some great photos, post them online, look fantastic, do you, right? If you want to wear them with Nike sneakers and a Bape t-shirt, great. That's raw denim too. There's no wrong way to raw denim. No wrong way. And so, you know, if judgments are going to be thrown around, that's not right, that's not correct, I will say that you are not correct, sir. The person with that attitude is the incorrect one.
Yeah, well, you live in a world with lots of different interests in people, so
Right.
you probably want to open up a little bit.
Yeah. The more, it's a general practice in the U.S. If the item is incorrectly marked, then the customer pays that price. Motto: the customer is always right. And then I think Venomous Teddy. I worked at a company that would absolutely not honor quoting a S price, an S as in poo poo price. Yeah, those are two different approaches. I think that like as a corporate, like big time entity, I think, let me put it to you this: we've dealt with companies that have given us one price and then computer systems, they tell us one thing and then it's another thing. Anyways, I've seen it all, but yeah, like I think it is certainly more honorable to honor the price that you're given. I would say that, like, if it's a general like big oopsie moment, like, you go into a
like if
somebody first day on the job and totally f's up something, like
you apologize.
You apologize.
Yeah,
like I can't do that. Like,
you offer an opportunity to get out or continue. That's fine. Like if it's like something that can be solved, that's fine. But like if somebody plan a collection of the products based off of a price that they quoted and that they like already placed an order for, then that they have to honor it. Because otherwise, like you're not just ruining their like, I have to like change the price. No, you cannot even sell.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It totally changes the.
In our case, like at home, like especially starting a brand, if you tell me the price and then I price based on that, and then I go and collect orders and I get everything lined up, and then you tell me that the price is, now it's 40% more, you've ruined my business. Like it's all over, and it's different than like you go into a Best Buy and I missed it. Sorry, new subscriber.
Yeah. Started with S.
Sorry. I was looking at the screen. But like if you go to Best Buy and like there's a speaker there and it's like a $500 speaker and like the thing's just $25 and you go to the counter and like, oh no, that was a misprice. Like I can't.
Those are that's
not the same thing, right? So it would be nice if they honored that price, but like I think it would just be nice if they honored that price. Like it's not like life ruining.
Yeah.
You didn't like plan your life around getting that speaker for $25. So anyways, very, very different. Electric Bam Boogaloo 2. Booty shorts, raw denim too. If the booty shorts are made from raw denim, then that's part of raw denim too. Absolutely. No wrong way to wear raw denim. What was that? There was a candy bar. There's no wrong way to eat or something. Somebody is going to let me know, and now I feel like Andy Bernard in the break me off a piece of that. Apple sauce. Yeah. Rolex watch. How did that go? Richard Meza, there's no wrong way to eat a Snickers. Was that it? I'm just going to trust you because I don't remember that one. Venomous Teddy, Oreos. No wrong way to eat an Oreos.
I agree with that. However way you want to
Richard
eat
Meza, no wrong way to eat a Reese's. See, now we don't know.
I don't think that's. It doesn't sound
Oreo,
like Reese's.
No wrong way.
Oreo. I would. If I had to guess, I think I would say Oreos because Oreos said like a lot of people would eat it differently.
I guess
like
so.
Get it in the milk, you scoop the cream, all of that things.
Oh no! Break me off a piece of that. Something car. Compact car. Was it a Tootsie Pop? The Moore. It's Reese's, Richard Meza. Was it? No, Tootsie Pop is how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Another person says it's Reese's.
Crystal, it's Reese's in the commercial. There's no wrong way to eat a Butterfinger. Wow, I think I...
Wow, like everybody's...
This was a slogan that we remember, but it seems like we don't remember what the product was for.
That's kind of a failure.
Carl Morawski is in the house. Hope you're both doing well. We are. Hope you're doing well too, my friend. Thanks for joining the chat. Okay. I don't remember where we were going with this. There's no wrong way to wear raw denim.
Richard Messat says just Googled. What did the Google?
Oh, Google
tell
says. What did the Google say? Let us know.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, like I said, there's no wrong way to wear raw denim. So long as you're wearing it correctly. Pretty House says, I think it's Snickers.
Okay, Snickers? Sure. But it should be Oreo's slogan.
Chris Knoll, taste the rainbow.
That's Skittles.
Yeah, taste the rainbow. Mm-hmm. The fun part about Skittles is if you get a bowl of them, throw a few M&Ms in there. It really ruins someone's day. Yeah.
Can we look at some things?
We can look at a few things. Yeah, I got a couple things back there. I'm just trying to control the light in there. There we go. Got the blinds going. Okay, good.
I think it's time.
Yeah, let's. Oh, you know what it's time for before we get to that? It's time to like and subscribe to this channel, my friend. If you haven't hit that like button yet, gently tap it. Tell a friend to tap it. Tell your mom to tap it. Tap that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, well, what are you waiting for? Now's a great opportunity to subscribe to the channel. You've never had a better opportunity than this one right now. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't hit it already. Hero Heritage is in the house. What's up, y'all? Gonna make more of those Iron Snail jackets. You know what? Let's talk about Iron Snail jackets. Then we'll get to that. So Michael, as you guys know, we're doing some production for Michael over at the Iron Snail. We helped him out to develop his denim jacket. And if you're not following Michael, the Iron Snail on YouTube, check him out. Great guy. He does product reviews. He does vlogs. He does it in his own kind of very, very beautiful storytelling way. I don't think anyone does it quite like him. And
he's also very funny.
He's also very funny. He's definitely a funny guy. Great guy, nice guy. And we've developed quite the friendship over the last I don't know. It seems like for a long time, but maybe not. I don't even remember at this point. But in his video series, his vlog series, he talked about basically the going through the steps of making a jacket from concept all the way from design, sampling, getting the hardware done, getting design done, every step of the way. So this has been a very, very long journey of storytelling for him, and he just launched his denim jacket on his website, ironsnail.us. I believe it's ironsnail.us, and they sold out in 20 minutes. So very, very good job for him. People were messaging me like, hey, he sold out. What are you going to do? And I'm like, what am I going to do? He sold out. Anyways, so he had a very successful launch. You want to go over to his Instagram. Sorry, well, you want to go to his Instagram, but you want to go over to his YouTube channel, follow him, and learn more about the jacket that he just released. And now I guess the story is going to continue from getting the production in, shipping those out, dealing with customer questions. Like last night he was messaging me because he was getting all these kind of questions from customers about sizing and things like that. And he's like, I've never dealt with something like this before. Like I'm just getting, there's so many questions coming through. And I'm like, yeah, like that's what happens when you put out a product, especially in our realm. There's a lot of questions asked about sizing, fits, this kind of stuff. How do I launder it? What do I do? A lot of questions, nonstop. Some of them were crazy questions. And he's like, what do I do? I was just kind of giving him advice. I'm like, yeah, imagine what you're going through right now times the amount of products we put out. Like there's just so many questions that are often coming through. And like part of having a brand is, not just answering the questions, but being able to tell the stories and tell the stories in ways that like kind of preempt the questions from coming in, right? I was reading online somewhere, and somebody wrote like they thought it was weird that as like Naked Famous as a brand, we don't write that our jeans are sanforized or unsanforized. And I'm like,
I do write that it's unsanforized.
Right.
If it's
Sorry.
unsanforized.
Yeah. They said that they don't like on our product pages. We don't write sanforized specifically. Right. And I'm like, there's a reason for that, right? And the reason for that is the second we start putting that word in there, most people, 99% of the people don't know what that means. And then there will be a flood of questions coming in about that. And for the people who think they know what that means, sans-fries versus unsans-fries, the fact that you're even saying that it's weird that we don't write it kind of shows how, I'm not knocking you or anything, but I'm just saying that, like, thinking that that's weird is kind of a sign that you don't know yourself kind of, how this all works, right? 99.9% of the world's jeans are sans-fries. They're all sans-fries. And we do note on any pair that we make that is unsans-fries, and this goes for the entire world also.
Yeah.
When you make an unsans-fries jean, that's when you note it, because that's when it's the outlier, right? It's not like 1950 anymore where you have to put sans-fries on the garment as if it's a selling feature. It's all sans-fries now.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird practice to put that. If I start putting sans-fries, everyone's gonna be like, I've never heard that before. Now do I have to start worrying about whether things are sans-fries or unsans-fries? And it's just gonna be a flood of questions coming out. So like, as a brand, you have to know what information you put out there, what information like is necessary to put out there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
It's funny because it kind of reminds me of like the time that we sold gluten-free jeans. And it was a funny thing because it was organic cotton, like it was
organic cotton, natural indigo.
Yeah, like it was like
vegan leather patch.
It's very Whole Foods type of jeans, and so like we put in the copy like that it's gluten free.
Yeah. And on the pocket flasher we wrote gluten free.
Yeah,
and it was also gluten free was such a big trend everywhere.
Yeah. And like people were like messaging us saying like, oh, like these other jeans that you don't sell as gluten free, they're not gluten free. It's like.
Yeah. We had a nervous mother write to us about how she was saying her son has a celiac, condition, blah, blah, blah. And thank God we're making gluten-free jeans now. She didn't even know it was a problem. And
like she was hurting her son or something.
Yeah, she was like, I was killing my son. I'm like,
no,
lady, this is a joke. There is no gluten. So long as you don't eat these jeans, you will be fine. And in fact, if you do eat these jeans, there are going to be other problems that are going to come from that. And so it is just you don't like, sometimes you see like a unusual warning on a product, and like, why, we all know why that unusual warning is on that product, because somebody somewhere did something so dumb and so out of the box or something that now it's a liability. Yeah. And so I'm not saying, like,
sans-frisation is not part of this, but like it kind of is the idea that like things that you don't have to, like, you can safely assume and that you don't have to worry people with, those issues should not enter the customer's minds because that's not something you should worry about.
Chris Node may contain nuts. Do these jeans contain MSG? Like, if I start putting no MSG in the jeans, although there's definitely no MSG in the jeans.
Really?
There's no MSG in the jeans.
Also, MSG with
I'm a fan of MSG. I'm a big old. I love it.
MSG does not hurt you.
Yeah.
MSG exists in tomatoes. Yeah. Okay, so chill.
Sprinkle, dude. Remember, all your potato chips taste way better because of that delicious MSG. Yeah.
Oh, it only brings you joy. It's
not sponsored by the MSG people, but
I wish.
But yeah, it is funny that if you start writing stuff on your jeans, start putting that information out there, it then starts to make people nervous, certain amount of people nervous, and like, you want to nip certain questions in the bud. You want to put out as much information as entirely necessary. Some people will ignore it. That's fine. They're going to ask the question anyways. That's okay. We're there to answer those questions no matter what. But, I don't want us to be flooded with the same, to be fair, we get flooded with the same question all the time. It's always, like, most of the questions, I think a lot of them come down to sizing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a
normal question. That's a legitimate question. But like, how much do these jeans shrink? When people ask that question, I think sometimes people are trying to, I'm like, how much, like,
Yeah, so those are the good examples of things that you don't worry about that when you're buying, you know.
A t-shirt at
Yeah,
somewhere
like
else. Like,
it's just like the idea of raw denim.
yeah.
Like
People
is,
overly complicate
yeah.
it. Like, sometimes I get questions about repairs, and again, I'm not like, I'm not saying that everyone who's into raw denim needs to know everything, but sometimes I feel like a little bit of knowledge makes you sometimes a little bit dumber in a way,
Like
right?
you worry about more stuff
yeah.
because you feel like, oh, I don't know enough.
Right. And
by
so
knowing a little bit more than
yeah.
regular people, I think.
Yeah, there's a level about it where you know about things, but you're just not, you don't know how like to practically apply it just yet. Like, you heard the term, so you start using the terms, and I'm like, but you're not there yet.
I feel like somebody should make a graph about how like people's knowledge and like there should be a visual presentation of this.
But one thing I get a lot is about repairs and alterations for jeans, and like a lot of people seem to believe that there's this special world that can only they can fix jeans, and only they can fix raw denim jeans. And do I need to send it to a specialty place, and these people specialize in this, and they can do that, and only you guys can do the hemming? And number one, it's not true. Every one of your local tailor shops can repair your jeans. Repair is, they can patch them up, they can darn them, they can, whatever it is, they can do it. That is such a basic repair. Go on YouTube right now. Not right now, actually, after the live stream. Watch it to the end. Forget that I said.
Everybody's on YouTube right now.
Everyone's on YouTube right now. But later on, look up darning. And you're going to see it's a bunch of like basic like homemaker kind of videos teaching you how to repair, jeans and stuff. It's just such a normal like thing.
There's I mean, level to it. Like, if you want to achieve a certain look or certain very specific things, like maybe you want to go to a professional, but like, well, you probably want to go to a professional anyways, but like pro of the things that you're trying to achieve. Like, for instance, like, some people just want like to keep the hem of the jean after you make it shorter and stuff like that. If you are buying like distressed jeans, like you cut off that like distressed hem and then put it.
You can reapply it.
Yeah.
It's called a European hem. But like, you wouldn't do that for raw denim. And I've seen people make the mistake for doing that. They're like, oh, well, it has a chain stitch hem, so I want to preserve the hem. And I've seen people do it's other places call it something else. When I worked at the Holt Renfrew department store, in our alterations department, we called that a European hem. I don't know where the term came from, but basically they'd cut off the bottom and they'd reattach it in such a way that distressed bottom would still be there after they hemmed it, right? But if you ever cuff the jean, you'd see all this like sewing on the inside. So it wasn't like an unnoticeable alteration if you cuffed or flipped the jeans. And if you don't, then it really wasn't a problem. But I've seen people who don't quite understand like a raw denim hem, and they're like, well, I want to preserve the chain stitch, so they'll say that to their tailor, and the tailor's like, okay, so I'm just gonna cut it off and reapply it, right? Because that's basically what you're asking for, right? You didn't say, oh, can you do a chain stitch hem, which many of them probably can't, but a single needle is also just as good. And sometimes people, like, they don't even know why they want that chain stitch hem, right? And okay, anyways, we can go into a lot of different rabbit holes here, but like, my point is that, we do overcomplicate things when it comes to repairs, hemming, even tapering. Like, maybe tapering is a little bit different because it depends on the construction of the jean, but sometimes I feel like, as a customer, you're asking for this taper job to be done in a specific, way, so that your out seam still has the busted out seam. But if the inseam is a felled seam, then they can only basically taper from the out seam. So, but they don't even realize that. Like, you're asking for this alteration because you want to, you're the denim, you have some knowledge of, raw denim, but you're not enough to like understand why the thing that you're asking for doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. Right? I'm sure my rambling there didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I forgot where we were going with this. But like, I mean, sometimes things are very simple, even if like the community makes you feel like it's complicated. A lot of the times,
Yeah.
things are simple. So
Yeah.
when we don't say it's unsunfrized jeans, you can safely assume that it is a sunfrized jeans.
That is
gist
that is
of it.
right.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. It's all sanforized except when it's not. That's the rule. But yeah, Chris Noel with an important question. Should I get a machine for darning and start a side hustle called Darn It All to Hell? Repairs start at $6.66. I think you should.
That's a good name.
66 per inch, right? A lot of people, you do it by the amount of repair
Surface,
size. Yeah. So do it. You know what, Chris Noel? You can learn everything you need to know about darning in a 20-minute YouTube video. I'm not even joking. It is not particularly difficult. It's just a little time consuming. Honestly, like a lot of those repair videos, sometimes I see like these videos and it's like how to take in the waist of a jean by yourself at home with like, I'm like, these are such
good video.
and they're like such basic repair videos, and it's like, Good Housekeeping is making like, it's not like raw denim, pure guys.
Oh, not at all. Those
it's
people
all
know
like
way more.
Yeah. It's all these like Good Housekeeping style, like, videos.
Yeah, because you need it to be like something that you can do at home.
Yeah.
And, like if you want to do it yourself, you obviously don't want to learn from a person who's like doing it on the industrial machines or something that you can't really get your hands on.
Right. But yeah, it's we've certainly overcomplicated raw denim in a way. Anyways, I'm hoping that we can decomplicate it, uncomplicate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get rid of the gatekeeping. It's today's theme.
Yeah. Okay. BD I think I did a subscribe shout out, but I didn't shout out BD for calling out the shout out. So BD, thanks for shouting out the shout out for the something or other. Subscribe. Mm-hmm. Question. Joshua Torres writes, I am learning to sew. Could I purchase a button-up shirt pattern from you all? Love the button-ups. We will not sell our patterns, but you can find a million patterns online.
You go, online, you go to Joann's or whatever, like, they have so many patterns.
Yeah, if you want to learn to sew, don't look to us to teach you. Again, like those Good Housekeeping, like there's a million videos online that'll teach you how to do it, and there's a million places online that will sell you patterns for everything. So I would recommend that. We're gonna sell you finished goods, not patterns. BD, Bezat, and Risa, will you make men's clothing with seersucker? I mean, we've done it before.
Yeah, and we're not against it.
Yeah, we're not against it.
But seersucker is like, a
summery
fabric, and we did not include that in the spring-summer 23 collection.
Right.
I don't think there's anything seersucker. So we might have to, might have to wait till maybe in the future.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll say that with seersucker, yeah, I think there are certain kinds of fabrics, like, maybe it's not so much seersucker. Sometimes if there's a stretch elastin in it, sometimes there's elastin in seersucker fabrics that we look at, which is sometimes we'll see a fabric that we like, but we have to be careful of like shrink stuff. Right? So sometimes I feel like, when it comes to
seersucker is usually not.
It's really not a problem, but maybe it just reminded me of like, we had some shirts in the past that were like crinkly, and they were crinkly because like, some elastin fibers were in there, and it was designed to be crinkly. And then when you wash it, it shrinks like crazy. But like you realize that you have to like iron it back out, and like anyways,
I spent so much time ironing some of those shirts.
Yeah, right. Because like and then you get like, again, it's just kind of, it's about nipping problems in the bud. Like I'm like, like this is a great shirt. I think some people get it, but like we'll get enough complaints about it that it's gonna be annoying for us to make this. So I'm not gonna make that. It's not seersucker. It just reminded me for some reason. Reminded me of that. Matt Couture, is there a vulgar 4 in the works? I'm not gonna say. Take that for what that is. Vance Edward, I wrote last Friday about my order of the Oka Atmosphere 5s and when it would ship. Well, it was at my front door the next day, Saturday. Thanks so much for quick shipping. All right. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying. I hope you're enjoying the jeans, but I'm glad they made it to you in a timely manner. Vitaly, would be great if you guys made bandanas with various versions of the tragic blonde. Yeah, maybe.
It's kind of a good idea.
I don't know much about bandana design.
Yeah, like I don't know how, like, because bandanas, clearly it's not like a big fabric. Mm-hmm. But if we're gonna do a design, is it all have to be like discharge print?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about bandana design at all.
Like,
I used to have a lot of bandanas. I used to always carry around a bandana. Either in my back pocket or a lot of times I just had it tied on my bag.
Still have the bag.
I still have the bag, yeah. And I, like at one point I think I had like 4 or 5 bandanas tied on there just because I liked the way it looked. But sometimes you find them useful because like you could actually use it for something. But
I haven't wiping your hands.
Yeah.
After you wash your hands.
That's it. But I don't think I've used a bandana in a while. Personally. Yeah. I don't know, like, I don't know too much about that. You know where I got like 90% of my bandanas? I think I've only ever owned one. It's all free bandanas. People I've acquired over the years.
That was a very common thing to give out. Like it's a denim brand, like you give out like bandanas. But I actually never really thought about like making it.
Yeah, back in the day, it was like that was the like denim brand gift. Mm-hmm. It was like.
I mean, I think to this day, like it's still not like an uncommon thing.
Yeah, but I think it was anyway.
It was huge back then.
Very very big back then. Okay, Vance Edwards, good question. Tell me your opinions on why some other brands' jeans go for $300, but these Oka Atmosphere 5s go for $130. I can't seem to pull the trigger on the more expensive brands. Well, maybe the Oka Atmosphere 5s are $130 because they're a little bit on sale, right? So you benefit a little bit from that. But I think the regular price might have been like $180 or something like that. Why do they go for more? I really can't tell you. If you look at our Made in Japan line, most of our jeans are $265, $270, $280, like in that range.
I think $275 was our go-to price. Like maybe nowadays it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, currency fluctuations, things like that. But like that's our target range. And I will say that our MIJ line is the absolute pinnacle of jeans production in Japan. It's the top 1% of fabric, top 1% of construction details, top 1% of hardware, top 1% of absolutely everything in absolutely every possible way. And our prices still are better than, or equal to, or better than a lot of what's out there. And so,
just to be fair though, like the comparison between Oka Atmosphere 5, which is made in Canada, and made in Japan jeans are different. Making things in Japan is more expensive than making things in Canada for many reasons, but one of the which is, like in Canada there's still a lot of people who are in manufacturing that are like immigrants and different
okay. Let me just make a few corrections. Oka Atmosphere 5 retail price when it came out was $218. All right. They're currently on sale. I guess we just have the last of them for $174. But $218 was the retail price when they came out. And so, as Risa was saying, there are manufacturing costs are one thing. The other thing is that as Naked Famous, we own our own factories, right? We own the factory that we operate in, so there's no middleman there. We cut out a lot of middlemen. We work directly with mills. When we import fabric to Canada, we don't pay import duty on that. I mean, you don't pay import duty on that in Japan either. But maybe if you're buying a Japanese-made product, outside of Japan, then there's taxes and duties that you have to factor into the cost of those things as well. But I will just say that as a more fair comparison, our MIJ line versus other products that are made here, which are good products too. Don't get me wrong, but price point wise, I don't know how some of them get their prices, because our prices are normal, right? Like, I think we're packing in, as we always do, a lot of value into the product that we're putting out there, and we still seem to be less expensive. So
yeah. And also, it's not like a volume thing either, because Japan is the reason why, like, in general, it's more expensive to make things in Japan is that, like, there is no, like, it's not the same as China. Like, it's like, or like you have more numbers, like significantly more numbers, then it becomes a lot cheaper. Not like in Japan, it's basically the same price if you make 50 pairs versus 500 pairs. It's not that different.
You won't get much of a price break here. Like they just, that's the price, they give you the price. Leonardo Roca writes, earlier you said the MIJs are going to be $800. Were you talking about the jacket or the pants? We're talking about a particular model
of jeans.
Yeah.
It's pants.
Yeah.
But you cannot compare this because these are made from fabric that is, we waited for years and it just, there's a lot of hand.
It's a hand-dyed yarn that they can only produce this much of, and so it's a very different beast. Like, that is the 1% of the 1%. Like, you know, with everything, there is a, like, absolute peak of the top of the top, and, like, there's that much available. But, like, you know, in terms of the other fabrics that we use for the MIJ line, like, when we put out, like, we're going to put out the MIJ 10s, and that's going to be the Okayama Spirit 1 fabric. Yeah, I mean, the retail price on that is going to still be within our realm. Reese is going to double check right now. But you will see it's going to be very aggressively priced compared. I wouldn't even say it's aggressively priced. It's a good price. I don't know where other people get their prices from. I'm not their accountant, but
well, we try to give everybody $315.
$315.
MIJ.
Yeah. So
10, which is made from Okayama Spirit 1 fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, you know, like, always our aim is to achieve the
best price value proposition. But with MIJ, it's like, you know, with Naked and Famous, there's certain things that we just don't do because, you know, like, we don't put hidden rivets on the, you know, made in Canada stuff because, you know, it's a feature that will add a lot of cost, and it's a feature that I think most people don't actually care about, right? When you're in the upper echelon of, like, you know, the MIJ series, when I do care about these details because I want these details and I'm willing to pay for these details, okay, they're there. And then price is less so of an issue. So, like, with the MIJ, we just jam-pack everything.
Yeah.
Literally every detail. Iron buttons, selvage fly, raised belt loops, like the beautiful leather patches that we use. Very, very expensive. You know,
fly,
so,
you know,
there's the hidden and peekaboo selvage, real copper rivets, micro busted out seams, like, you know, obviously the chain stitch, Union Special chain stitch hem, all that stuff built in. The buttons, like, the amount of buttons I see on product here that is just like the generic universal button. Like, literally, you go to the button supplier and you're like, give me the generic running button, and that's the one that are on so many jeans. And, like, ours are made from, like, a tiny mill that, like, is the last one that will make anything with iron. Like, everybody else, if you go to YKK and you're like, can you get me iron? They're like, no. Like, we just, there's no point in us doing that. We're not here to make artisanal buttons for you. We make good buttons that are, you know, good price and whatever. But, like, you know, there's going to Domino's Pizza, and then there's going to your artisan pizza. And, like, Domino's makes a good product. I'm not knocking Domino's, like Domino's. But then there's the artisan product. There's the artisan pizza that you get. That is totally different. And, like, so we go to all these extra lengths to jam pack the MIJ,
right? And
we can still get them out at a really, really good price.
Yeah. So again, like, it's the same idea as made in Canada. It is the best value proposition. Like, you know, like the reason why MIJ is more expensive is not just because it's made in Japan. That also plays a role in it, but it's also like at next level. It's all these details. That's why it's more expensive, but it's still our commitment is to the value of the item. However, depending on what the price point is, it's still high value.
Right, but Vance goes on. I guess his next point is that, like, you know, from comparing like a very, very expensive jean made in Japan versus made in Canada at, like, you know, less than half the price, like, it's a hard you know, it's a hard pill to swallow to pay the extra. I agree, right? You have to really want that extra. Like, you get so much in the made in Canada Naked and Famous at our price point. Geez, there's just really not a lot out there at our price point delivering what we can deliver. There really just isn't. And, you know, again, that has a lot to do with our efficiencies and, you know, keeping prices down. A lot of people still make that value equation to, like, low price, low quality, right? It's like, oh, these are better because they're more expensive. And it's like,
it's not necessarily.
It is not necessarily true. There's a lot in the raw denim world that is sitting in, you know, the price point that's slightly above us that, I mean, they don't deliver what we deliver. Yeah. I'll tell you that much. Some people make a good product for a good price and a fair price. They have the right amount of details that would justify it. But there's stuff out there that is just, and I think, you know, people in the audience and the customers will also realize that. But there's also a lot of people who are, like, you know, in their minds, they justify things by the price that they pay. And if, like, you know, it's hard for them.
That, like, surface level things that they can point out. Like, you know, just because you make jeans in Japan, that doesn't necessarily mean it should be $300. If you don't put in everything else that we put in, like, it really shouldn't be $300. But, you know, people don't look that much beyond when it comes to, like, you know.
Yeah. I saw a comment the other day where somebody was like, oh, those unbranded jeans are garbage. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. You really show your ignorance when you're, like, on a raw denim message board and you say something like that. Like, you're an actual idiot if you write that. Like, if you think the unbranded jeans are garbage, they're not a good value, like, find me a better jean for $88. Or, like, I think that's still, or what, are they $88? Maybe they're like $90 now. $91, something like that. But, like, there is no better value. Like, if you're the unbranded 21 ounce, really $130 for a 21 ounce jean. Are they falling apart on people? Like, I don't understand this idea. Oh, they're just garbage because I spent $600 on a 21 ounce jean, so those ones have to be garbage. Like, yes, that's what you have to tell yourself to justify that purchase. Sure, I understand, but we've sold thousands of pairs of unbranded 21 ounces. Show me the posts online of them falling apart. Show them to me. You're gonna find some that have been damaged and worn, but, like, you know, poor construction. These jeans are falling apart left, right. Doesn't exist. Right? Maybe early days we had some problems with the buttons, but we fixed that problem a long time ago, right? But anyways,
the gist of the story is, like, if you ask us why these jeans are more expensive than, for instance, this other jeans, we can always answer with the logical reason. We can always point to the things that we are doing better at, or you know, doing more of, and we can, like, really justify the price. Any of our products, you can justify our price. But that's not always the case with other brands. That's basically it.
Right. And like, so, yeah, I mean, like, right. I'm not them. I don't know how they get to their pricing. I know how I get to my pricing, and I'm honest with you guys with how we get to where we're at. So with that knowledge in hand, you know.
And feel free to ask us if, like, wait, why is this jeans more expensive than this? Then you ask us, we can tell you why.
Yeah, I'll answer you. I mean, you know, if you take, like, an Okayama Spirit 5, for example, like, if it has a colored weft, it's gonna add price, it's gonna add cost. right?
Yeah.
You take
Well, if you're comparing
Yeah.
like our products to our products, most
Yeah,
of them
right.
comes down to
Right.
the fabric.
yeah, it
It
all
it is.
goes down
Yeah.
to the fabric, and like, you know, a good example. Sometimes like even with us, sometimes it's kind of like, you know, we have a dusty rose denim that's coming out in the spring,
23.
and it's a non-selvage, but it's such a beautiful fabric. Like the touch and hand of it is so nice. Like it's not a cheap one,
Mhm.
right? It's not inexpensive. It's
And
got
part of that was because we wanted to achieve that
Yeah,
shade,
right. It's
that
a custom
particular
color. Yeah.
and
So there's a
Yeah.
little bit that goes into it than that. It's not just, oh, it's selvage, it's this and that. Like this is a custom color. The hand is really, really soft, very, very beautiful cotton. So those things also add up as well. So anyways, again, if there's ever a question, you know where to find us, and you
Mhm.
know where you're gonna get your answer.
Mhm.
We're very open about that. Jake Corsa writes, I'm actually ordering a pair of UB21s next week as my winter jeans here in New England.
Nice.
You will enjoy them. They'll keep you nice and toasty. But yeah, the unbranded 21 ounce is, I think, the ultimate value in general. Like in the market, like there is a lot packed into that jean at that price point.
Mhm.
And yeah, anyways, if you've never experienced that, if you've never experienced like a heavyweight jean, and maybe you don't want to spend like, you know,
Yeah, a lot to
a
begin
lot
with.
to begin with, you don't know if you're gonna wear these a lot. Like, it's an intimidating jean, right? But you know, we go through the raw denim, you know, lifestyle, the progression. You know, we start dabbling in all the different little areas, and if you're not, you know, if you're not sure that that's, you know, something you want to jump into, try the unbranded 21 ounce, right?
And unbranded 21 ounce is a fast fading jeans.
Super
If
fast.
I've ever seen the fastest fading jeans, that's 21 ounce.
Yeah.
It is
It is
no question about it.
Definitely the fastest fading jean on the planet. BD, Naked Famous always has varied prices, and there is something for everyone, and you always have really fair sales as well. I think we're pretty good with the sales.
Yes. Like when we want to get rid of something, we want to get rid of something.
yeah.
So we just need the room.
We just need the room in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Like the warehouse is big, but like when you've got like, for example, if you have like Ogami Spirit 5, for example, like there's not a lot of it left, but like each fit has like a couple of sizes. That takes up an entire column in our warehouse.
Yeah.
Like
it really
like
blutters.
like I don't put them all in one box, like, because the way our warehouse is set up is like all the sizes are per row.
All the fits are
per row, and then all the
like, fabrics are per column.
Yeah. So
we don't want to mess with that
Yeah.
because then it gets confusing.
It's so much easier to find things this way. So when there's like just the last of something left, I'm like, you're like, okay,
yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go now.
Let's go. We got new stuff coming in. We got to make some room. So yeah. But yeah, you know, I think we give good deals and stuff like that, and it also allows people to get into, like, you know, like the mystery items. Like if it's a special price, you know, or like my 24-hour specials, like I do a lot of things there. You know, you can find something new that you can try on, and you don't have to do the full, you know, investment in a pair. Like you get if you get a good deal on it, you get a good deal on it. You know, it's easier if you're not, you know, if you're not 100% sure if you want to go down that route, then sure, at the right price, maybe it is. Okay. What's the deciding factor on whether or not a jean will be salvage or not?
A lot of the times it's the limitation of the looms. Like even if we wanted to make something in Selvedge, a lot of the times we can't, and those goes to, like, you know, like for instance, like Frankenstein denim. That's one of the like hardcore denim that we make that we can never make in Selvedge. People have asked us all the time.
The loom doesn't work that way.
So things like that is the number one reason, I think.
Another one is whether or not it would be necessarily important for the customer. Like a good example of that was the natural cotton seed denim that we did for a long, the 10 ounce natural seed denim. We've been doing that jean for a long time, right? But I always felt that, I would say the last 2 years, natural seed has really grown a lot in sales in the raw denim community. But before that, it's always kind of been around.
And people would get it. I think people like that jean because, you know, it was a summery jean, lighter weight, and I didn't have to go full kind of like Selvedge price for it. You know, I think those were...
It retailed for 130 for the longest time.
So,
I remember that. That was just one of the best
super opening price point, and it's a way that you can get into a jean that you're not going to wear every day because it's an crew jean. You're not like me. I'm wearing mine every day. But, you know, most people aren't going to wear that jean every day. So, you know, I'm not going to spend the same amount of money as I would on, you know, an indigo pair, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't find it necessary that jean had to be Selvedge. But as the maybe the more hardcore guys were getting into it, because I think before that was like the fashion customer was getting into that. But as the hardcore, you know, the more raw denim enthusiast types were getting into ecru denim, then I'm like, okay.
They were like asking or like,
now it's time that we can make a Selvedge, and I'm willing to pay for it. And our prices are still good. Like, you know, but those kind of things are part of the determining factor. So whether it's a necessary detail and like justifying the price difference, limitations. So those are some of the reasons why. Sacco Jennison writes, hello from Boston. Hello. Will Katechu Selvedge stain initially like indigo? I see it as a great alternative to natural indigo. I see it as a great alternative to natural indigo and a great shade. The Katechu on the inside shouldn't fade on your legs. Maybe it'll fade a little bit with wash.
But it's not like indigo dye.
Yeah.
Indigo dye is meant to fade off over time, whereas that weft dye is not like, that's not what it's designed for. I'm not gonna say it's a permanent dye that's never gonna fade, but
it's more in there. Indigo is actually a very poor dye in the sense that it really doesn't hold on to anything. Like that's why it fades so well. I guess that's the main difference there. So I wouldn't worry about it staining your clothes, your legs, like the Katechu part. The indigo is certainly much more because it just doesn't hold on to things the same way. But with indigo, generally speaking, like if you've like stained a white t-shirt or something, wash it and it'll come out again, because indigo tends not to hold so well. It'll usually come out of your clothing pretty easily as well. Sarah Zaki writes, my husband ended up wearing his Naked and Famous and unbreaded instead of his other Japanese brand denim. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But I bet he appreciates it also because another thing that we do well is the Western fits. We are much more catered to... We are a Western brand. So we know our audience maybe a little bit more intimately. Dirk Diggler, welcome. Dirk Diggler's in the house. Thinking about soaking all my jeans together and letting the dyes mix. What do you think? I say do it.
It could be interesting to see what happens.
You know, I wonder what's going to happen. Not much, I think.
I don't think anything's
because once you rinse it, like after you soaked it, and then you rinse it, it's all just going to come off.
But you're just going to see
the gross colored water.
Yeah.
It is like... It is brown, like when you soak your jeans, but I don't think that's from the dirt. I think it's just the way the dye mixes with the water a little bit.
And it's just not gonna be like a bright blue.
Yeah.
It's just, that's not how it works.
But soaking your jeans can be an odd experience because you're like, ugh, that's gross. But give it a try. Let us know. Whenever you do it, come back to the chat. Let us know what's happening. We'll remember you, Dirk. We'll remember you. V writes, Naked and Famous jeans are by far the best brand, price, fit, selection, style, creativity, customer service. We're number one, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That means a lot.
We're number one. Rice Checks also writes, do you guys sell unsewn denim off the roll? Seems like it'd be fun to try and use some as upholstery on a custom chair or car seats. We don't.
We're not a fabric.
Yeah, we're not a fabric
seller.
Yeah.
We're a full service jeans seller.
I definitely had that idea once, like, you know, because sometimes you have like these end of rolls where you have like 15 meters left, and like when you're down to like 50 meters or less, like there's nothing you can do with it. Like 50 meters makes like how many jeans? Like 12.
Yeah.
like it's just not it's not worth setting up the factory for that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more, but yeah. Maybe 18, 20 pairs. Like it doesn't make that many jeans.
And you cannot really like make a jean and sell it at the price that we can with other jeans when you're making 20.
Yeah.
20 is very inefficient. The factory does not
Yeah,
like that.
they don't like
we do
doing
not
that.
like that.
Yeah.
I just can't
So
do it.
when we get like end of rolls like that, I'm just like, oh man, maybe we should just sell this by the meter. But at the same time, you know how annoying it would be to sell fabric by the meter? Like I'd really have to set up the warehouse in a certain way, and that's gonna take forever. And then like we're gonna make like not a lot of money. And you have to the cutting table is always busy because they're always cutting something. So like we're gonna have to like have a separate cutting table area.
And then somebody's gonna like start their own like small brand selling Naked and Famous fabrics.
Yeah.
Like we don't really need that. No.
But yeah, like nowadays, like you know, sometimes somebody like need like, hey, need a patching fabric or whatever. Okay.
Oh, we
yeah.
all obviously
yeah.
we'll send it to you.
We'll send you. If we have it, we'll send you a little bit, no problem. Like, hey, I need a little bit of whatever. Okay, could you include it with my order? Sure.
But
Here you go.
sometimes we're really get fabric. If we don't have that exact fabric, you can use other fabrics.
Like the idea for us, like production is really tricky in that sense where, you know, you order a certain amount of fabric, like, you know, maybe we'll get like 2,000 or 3,000 meters or something, and like you book enough, like, well, it depends. Like sometimes you have to buy the fabric way in advance because the lead times are so far ahead. In the past, we were able to like order sampling, make the samples, you know, get the orders, and then put in your bulk order. But just the way everything is now, you have to do everything in advance. It's usually about a year now where we're ordering fabric in advance before we even show it to anybody, before it hits the market. Anyways, long story short is we're basically guesstimating how much fabric that we need, and then, you know, we collect our orders, and if you exceed the amount of, you know, jeans that you can make, then you've exceeded it, and that's that. Or if you don't exceed it, then you have extra. But what we try to do, you have extra fabric, but with that extra fabric, what we try to do is we do something called a cut all. So basically, here's how much we need to make as a bulk, but factory cut all the fabric so that we don't have anything left. Because I don't like having, you know, 100 meters or 200 meters or 50 meters of fabric just sitting around the warehouse doing nothing. I'd rather make the jeans, and then, you know, we'll eventually they'll all eventually sell. So it's really not a. I don't like having extra fabric around.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there
Okay.
because it's been 2 hours without not showing a single jean.
Okay.
I think that's a crime.
Okay, that is a crime.
Yeah,
We're fashion police are gonna get us.
Yeah.
That's true. This has been a good chat, everybody. It's been long and continuous. Good topics. We gotta show some jeans off. That's true. So today we released the Selvedge. So we just did a video on that. I don't have the sample here, so you're gonna have to check out that video after you finish this live stream. Check out that video if you haven't already. But this coming Friday, we've got the Offshoot Broken Twill Selvedge coming out. So we showed it off a little bit last week, but we'll show it off this week again. This is it. This sample doesn't have the correct stitching, and when Risa and I make the video for this jean, it will be this sample, so it will not have the right stitching. But this is going to be the correct stitching. So essentially, what this is a broken twill construction of this exact same jean. So it's the same warp and weft yarns.
Same yarn count. There's a lot to like when we say fabric base, like same base, blah blah blah. There's a lot of elements to it. Like yarns are, you know, the size of the yarns, the indigo that's on the yarns, the weft color, weft size, all of that, and yarn count. Like all of that is the same with
these two.
Twill, except the weaving.
Right. So now you can really see the difference that the color, the fading, all that stuff will make with just the weaving. I think this is a pretty interesting story. You know, eventually we'll do a right-hand twill version of the left-hand twill, because you often hear this left-hand twill is softer than right-hand twill.
But you cannot compare unless you're comparing exactly.
It must be exactly the same everything.
This will be a good experiment. Only the nerdiest of people are going to appreciate this, but it would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't just for people who want to see the difference. I mean, this is just a great gene all on its own. But for the reason why it came to an existence is because we want to show this off. Like I'm just genuinely like all the time you hear about the differences between left hand twill, right hand twill. I'm like, you're never gonna actually visually see the difference until you do it exactly the same way, right? Because not every right hand twill denim is this,
Yeah.
Anyhow.
You actually, you're never gonna see the same because even if the same person wears it,
that's true.
It's different days, different wearing,
different lifestyle.
But that's way too nerdy.
Yeah, but so this is gonna be a great example coming out next Friday. It is the Offshoot Broken Twill Selvedge. We haven't done a Broken Twill Selvedge denim in a while. I think the last one we did was
the Broken Twill Selvedge. I think.
No, it was the elephant, the broken elephant. Yeah. So we haven't done that in a while. So more Broken Twill. I'm happy to have this. And for those people who don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to Broken Twill is a construction type. It's the way that the fabric is woven. You can see here on the inside that. Hopefully you can see it on the inside. It might be a little too. Anyhow, if you can't see it. If you see that the way the fabric is woven, it's in a zigzag pattern. There isn't any clear lines here. When you look at a left-hand twill denim or a right-hand twill denim, a regular denim, you will see a noticeable directional twill. So it's either going going down to the bottom left or it's going down to the bottom right.
The diagonal lines that you see in a twill fabric doesn't exist in a broken twill fabric.
Right. So this is actually a combination of both. So it has a very, very unique weave pattern. And this was originally designed to prevent something called leg twist. And leg twist is something that occurs in directional twill fabrics, or at least it used to occur in directional twill fabrics before sanforization. And so if we start telling people that, and that process during the sanforization process that prevents the leg twist is something called anti-skewing. And if we start to say, these jeans have been anti-skewed, I'm sure we're going to have all kinds of questions coming in.
What about this one?
Are these anti-skewed also? Anyway, so that said, anti-skewing and sanforization have basically made broken twill a redundant kind of technology because
not necessary.
It's not necessary to prevent leg twist anymore. So because we do have mechanical ways to prevent it, although they're not 100% perfect. Like there will still eventually always be a little bit of twist, more so in unsanforized jeans. Even sanforized jeans with the anti-skew will still twist a little bit eventually. But broken twill will not twist. It is designed, it cannot twist because there is no twill direction for it to twist into. So anyways, we'll do a video, full breakdown covering these, and the video will be available next week. These jeans will be available next week. Broken Twill, Offshoot, Broken Twill Selvedge. Venomous Teddy, the upcoming elephants sort of look like a Broken Twill jean. That is true. The Grandrel yarn really makes it look kind of fuzzy and
like inside you cannot see the direction because that yarn has two colors and you're looking at static.
It looks
screen.
like static.
Yeah.
Okay. Got my first pair of raw Selvedge denim today. Naked Famous Golden Hour Slub Denim. Very, very, very good starter Pokemon right there. Hold on, it's too dark now. Starter Pokemon. What would be the Naked Famous Denim starter Pokemons? Left hand twill Selvedge.
Stretch Selvedge.
Stretch Selvedge and Black Power Stretch. That's a good question. This is gonna be a 3-hour live stream, everybody.
What else? I mean, anything could be a starter. It's just like, is left hand twill a good starter? Like,
yeah,
that's a good question because, like, if you're speaking from like
a classic perspective, like a right hand twill would maybe make a little more sense.
No, it's more like if you're coming from like stretchy jeggings world, like left hand twill already is pretty crispy. Like for instance, like Indigo Selvedge would be a better starting point because it's a little softer. It's a little
maybe, like, but I think if you want to get into raw denim, like I'm like
you want to experience the raw.
I'm not
denim.
jumping in head like. This isn't like a head first. Like I'm not even looking in to see if there's rocks. Like with the left hand twill, I think that's a very like safe bet. Like, I want to try raw denim. That's a great way to start. It's crispy. It's rigid. It's not too light. It's not too heavy. You know, it's not a baby step, right? The stretch selvage might be a little bit more of a baby step, right? And then the black power stretch, I think, is
like you're at the start line, but black power stretch is like very close to not being raw denim. Like it's
yeah. I mean, it's not like you're not getting the indigo fading,
right,
you know,
and it's also got like 5% stretch. So like people who don't want to have any discomfort wearing jeans would be okay with this.
There's a long debate because, you know, would black power stretch be in my starter Pokemon world?
What is a starter Pokemon?
Okay, guys, everybody, she doesn't know what a starter Pokemon. When you start a game of Pokemon,
you're given
you are given a choice of 3 Pokemon that you can only get at that point in the game. You cannot find these characters in the wild. So you have to make a choice right now, which is going to be my guy. And that guy that you're with usually ends up being like something you carry with you for the whole game. So you level them up, you evolve them the entire way.
But you can choose from all of the Pokemon?
No, there's only 3. So each game, there's 3 Pokemon that they're called starters because...
Oh, and you can only choose one.
You can only choose one. And so the other ones that you don't pick, you can't find them in the wild.
Oh,
so,
okay.
And in order to collect them all, you have to have a friend or somebody that is willing to trade their starter Pokemon with to you. Now, when I was a kid, what you would do is that you trade it and then you trade it back. That way, when you trade it, it ends up in your Pokedex, so it shows that you've collected this guy at some point, but you may not have them in your possession.
Yeah, then that kind of changes my idea because you want something where you can level up, like, or fade like heavily into a nicely faded denim someday, right?
I guess so. Anyways, so, this is a good question. We'll continue that discussion. Let's show off another one.
Okay. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Blanket lined denim.
Yeah. Blanket lined denim.
It's not actually lined, but it looks like it's blanket lined. Like the blanket pattern. It's got like all the nippy, fuzzy feeling.
The reason that they're not technically lined is because this is 2 fabrics that are technically woven together. Instead of a lining is not connected.
Lining is another layer that's separate.
Right.
Like 2 fabrics.
Sewn
together.
These are actually not. They're semi-separate layers, but they're actually woven at the same time.
So it is one fabric. You cannot separate this.
So it might be hard to see, and it'll be better when we do a video, but there are these very, very hard to see. They're called binding points, and there's just these little dots in the fabric. I definitely need to get maybe you're not going to see it here. It's very hard to pick up on. But there are little dots in the fabric that show you where the fabric is actually woven kind of together. And so you can feel that there's 2 layers going on, but
you cannot
you cannot separate them. So this is, I guess, anyway, we call it blanket line because it uses kind of a traditional blanket pattern that you would find in like vintage jeans here on the inside. So it's a very, very cool fabric. It's literally like wearing a blanket. I think they don't feel they're a very different texture to like a typical denim,
right?
Because
it's
this
a double
interior.
weaves, so like each layer is kind of a lightweight fabric. So it doesn't have the crunch of a like say 13-ounce denim or anything like that. It just feels soft, but it is like. Because it's
kind of
2
feels puffy.
layers. It does feel, it's not a thin denim.
Let's do an ASMR check on the blanket line. So, this is the blanket line denim. A little deep.
It's like a little dull kind of sound.
That's it. That's the blanket line denim. Size up with the blanket line because it's thick. I would say follow the measurement guides. As always, you probably want to wear these a little bit on the looser side. I don't think that there's a lot of give to this fabric. So,
and I think this is something you want to be comfortable in.
The binding points now. You can maybe kind of see it
Can you see that? It's because I know where it is. So like,
I can see it when I tilt it. Like I see it in an angle.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. In the video, it might be difficult.
okay, sounds slubby on the warp. Not particularly. It's bouncy. It's like a nice piece of squishy bread.
Maybe it's because you're like listening to two layers like rubbing together.
Can you wear those inside out? Technically, you can wear any jean inside out.
It's gonna be hard to do the zippers and stuff. This is not meant for.
Do you? They're not designed for that, but hey, you know what? They're your. Once you own them, they're yours.
Yeah.
You can wear them as a hat if you want. Wrap it around your head, whatever you like.
All right.
Enjoy them any way you want to enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then last jeans to show off today are these are going to be coming out in October. I don't have an exact release date for these yet, but these two are really nice canvas options.
I feel like we showed this a lot.
Yeah. Slubby canvas. We call it the raw cotton canvas. Raw cotton canvas. There. Anyways.
That's one of most
sometimes I get these like the raw cotton slub, the raw linen. Anyways,
this is like a series of confusing names.
It's like with all the bird names that I have now.
Yeah, but birds are nice. Whereas like these ones are like so confusing for no reason.
Yeah. So two great options. We got the brown and we got the khaki green. If you're just looking for some like non-denim color alternatives for the fall, these are going to be some great colors, and they're very rigid. I mean, this is a very classic raw denim feel. You want dense and heavy and like rugged. You could beat the crap out of these.
Yeah, like we have similar colorways in the duck, but the duck is lightweight and kind of a flat fabric, whereas like this one's a little bit more, but not a starter.
No, this is an advanced type, I would say. And you can see just how slubby it is. And let's get the sound on that one. Right, you can really hear the rigidness and the roar of this fabric. So, raw cotton canvas, 2 color options coming out in October.
We'll have some jackets.
Yeah, the green will come in denim jacket, which I'm looking forward to because we haven't had like a canvas jacket in a long time, and then they're also going to be available in smart jacket. So there's going to be some outerwear pieces, which I think if you don't need the bottoms, the tops are I think really really good options for the fall.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that name? Late Night Bezad? Yes, it's Late Night Bezad voice. We're gonna do some ASMR testing here on some Fall Winter 2022 jeans. All right, hope you like that. All right, let's get into. We got movie recommendation time. Risa, you tell me which one to recommend.
I've never seen this one.
Yes, you have. We watched it together.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do we know?
Okay, Risa doesn't remember anything. But we're gonna do this one because I think next, when it gets closer to Halloween, we'll do that one. Remember?
Remind me.
Well, I'm gonna remind you as we recommend it. So this is Violent Cop, a film by Takeshi Kitano. He also stars in the movie. A film by, I guess I didn't know it was by him, but he definitely stars in it. The same actor who was in the previous movie recommendation called Outrage. So he is in a lot of like gangster movies, but he's also in a lot of Japanese movies in general. I mean, he
is one of those guys that like makes very iconic movies, and he started off as a very funny comedian.
Right, he was a comedian. Yeah,
and he still kind of is maybe not to the same degree, but he's always for a Japanese person, he's always a comedian first. Mm-hmm. He was, and then he got into serious acting, serious directing. And then, he commentates on things nowadays, but, he is a very smart and respected person.
If you speaking of his comedy, there was a series in North America called MXC, Most Extreme Elimination, and it was basically, so it was his show in Japan called Takeshi's Castle, which was these people kind of doing these ridiculous stunts on a game show.
Yeah.
And like, MXC was dubbed over in English and made more of a parody of a Japanese game show concept. But there was actually an original show for those people who don't know called Takeshi's Castle. My uncle was on that show on TV in Japan in the 80s.
Oh yeah, I think I knew that.
He was on that show. Anyways, also pro tip: if you ever see MXC on DVD in the thrift store or whatever, it's worth a lot of money. Buy it every time, sell it. It's worth a lot of money.
Interesting.
Anyways, Violent Cop, great film about a violent cop, and he's protecting his sister from the gangs. I'm not gonna give it away, the ending, but there is a.
I do not remember.
Here's some commentary on the back. Sharp, shocking, packs a punch. The Yakuza melodrama so astonishing it went global. More Yakuza. This is a Yakuza type film. He's a police officer character. If you enjoyed the last recommendation I made called Outrage, you will certainly enjoy this. Even if you didn't watch that, definitely worth checking out. I don't know where you're gonna find this online. It might be hard to find streaming, but if you're clever, you could probably figure that out. But yeah, I bought this in a Blu-ray set, and it's a good one for the collection.
It's a good cover.
Yeah, good cover. Takeshi Kitano, great actor. He makes a lot of fun movies. Fun. I like the violence. So a good recommendation there. And so we're gonna wrap things up today with snack time. We found some interesting potato chips. I think we like potato chips on this channel. And these ones are
Mecha super mucho. So like I think we showed off some of the caramuchos. Those are spicy potato chips.
Yeah.
Those string things. And then this has been going on for like decades. So they have the caramucho, which is the spicy one, and super mucho, which is like the sour one. So they have like vinegar flavor. But this one is like extreme sour.
Yeah, extreme sour
Vinegar, tangy. I don't know the difference between tangy and sour, but like extreme vinegar.
Yeah, look at his face. He's dying. He is really
It's
not
an old
having
lady.
it. Is it an old lady?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's twins. Like caramucho is also an old lady.
I see. Okay, so we're gonna give these a shot. So super sour salt vinegar chips. We'll see how super they are. In Japan, it's rare that when they say they're spicy chips that they're really actually spicy. So
yeah, our spice level. I mean, every culture has like their spice level different, but yeah, this is also very crunchy. It says.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it does have the vinegar smell.
Okay, that's the chip.
Yeah.
See it? Pretty normal looking chip. Yeah, it smells like salt and vinegar.
It is pretty vinegary.
Very sour. You can really feel it. Your tongue like really tangs up. And they're good. They're okay as a chip. Like they're like a 6-8 as a chip.
It is almost like a candy.
Yeah, like when you have a sour gum and it's like,
candy,
you get that. It does what it says. I'll give it that
acidic.
much. I'll give it that much. But as a chip, it's not the greatest chip in the world. Like it's not the best. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad.
It's good. I'm just not sure if I'm ever going to crave this kind of chip. It is kind of weird.
Yeah, you don't want that. Like
I like sour, but like I don't necessarily want chips to be this sour.
And I like sour. Like I like salt and vinegar chips. I like them, but this it's always attacking you. Like you're just like it's not a bad taste, but like you can't help but like make that sour face. Anyways, it did the job. It is. I have to say, it as advertised. That is it's worth trying if you find them when you come here. Which, by the way, you might be able to come here soon. October, apparently, Japan opens up. So
To tourism.
to
like
tourism,
regular
tourism without
Yeah.
like crazy loopholes. So hopefully we'll see you guys here. That'd be great. Let's read a couple more questions and then we will wrap it up here. The more Bezat's face looks like the woman on the bag. Sure, it sure did. Somebody,
And the hairstyle.
somebody clip that. We'll make it the new little subscribe icon. Junior, have you ever tried the Packy One Chip Challenge? I've not tried the One Chip Challenge, but I've tried their brand of chips before. I do enjoy them. Although the hottest one, which I'm not sure what the flavor is, it's hot. It's not like I'm not gonna die from it, but it's also not the tastiest one.
Hottest one is never the tastiest one.
They have like a salsa verde one.
Yeah.
That one is very good.
Very good.
Yeah, very good.
Yellow packaging.
Yeah. The greenish yellow packaging. Yeah, that's the one. Venomous Eddie, does it make you want to eat it even if you don't want to eat it? Well,
I kind of like with the spicy, I think that's how I feel. Like you don't want to eat it, but you want to eat it. Like I don't know if it's psychology or just like your taste like thing, but it does. I can see that happening. Yeah. If I
might get annoyed by it at some point. Like I'm probably like this is not gonna be I'm gonna reach for this bag, but this is also a limited bag. Like this might not be there in a couple of months. Like,
probably not
yeah.
be there.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of limited product like this here in Japan. Okay, everybody, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for everyone who watched from the start all the way to the end, and for even if you tuned in right now. Whether you watch for 2 hours or 2 minutes, I appreciate you guys tuning in and joining our live stream, being a part of this community. Thanks for everybody who's already smashed. You got to smash the like button, and if you haven't done it, you can do it now. It's never too late. Even if you're watching this on the replay, great time. Have a wonderful evening. The rest of your evening, we're gonna get to our day, Saturday morning here. Have a fun weekend. Have a safe weekend. Do something nice for somebody. Tell your mother you love her, and
if you love her, don't lie.
You don't lie. I love you, Mom. And I will see you guys. We will see you guys next week. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.